Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. Hey guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Bitcoin and Ethereum and a few other coins. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not an expert. Do your own research. Today, let's just analyze Bitcoin for right here. You can see that this is still a very bullish market structure. We're seeing higher highs, higher lows across the board. It's still very bullish in my opinion, and I still feel that it's fairly inevitable that 70K gets tapped here pretty soon. And yeah, everything just still looks really good. I mean, look, this is just still higher highs, higher lows across the board. This trend line there was a deviation a little bit around that dip around late March. And I was fooled out by this as well. I thought that things look kind of bad. I thought that the next area of liquidity was maybe 48K. Clearly I was wrong, and price didn't make it quite down that far. And as of right now, we're still seeing overall progress and grinding up type of price action. In terms of the lower time frame charts, you can clearly see that this all-time high level around 62K is the next level up. But there's also this area right here that's currently holding price down. Price is just basically grinding right below the 60K area. And generally speaking, this is fairly bullish. It could be a double top. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it can't ever be a double top, but given that price has already tapped this area a few times, like you can see it once and twice in a fairly short order, and you can see it again here, and it's grinding along. I wouldn't expect massive rejection just because I think that sell liquidity is getting tapped over and over. And if you've looked at my previous videos, you know that resistance and support both get weaker the more times that price comes back to those levels. And so I personally feel that we might, if there is a rejection, I think it might be something like, I don't know, 56 would be a godsend. I don't necessarily think it's going to go that low personally. I think maybe like 57 would be like the low again, so something like this. But regardless, I still feel that the 60K area is not going to hold up the next time it comes up to that level. This sell liquidity is probably nearly gone, and by the time it breaks up, I don't think there's going to be many sellers left. And I think the next area of liquidity would be somewhere up here in the 65K area. So this maybe would be a interesting short region, but given the overall context in the market structure, this isn't really a trade that I personally like to take. As I said before, I mean, this is still just a really bullish market structure in my opinion. It's still just higher highs and higher lows. And in terms of a total reversal, I don't personally think that we have seen the total reversal. Distribution doesn't really look like this type of price action. We're more looking for some sort of blow off top, and then for price to range across several days with some very ugly candle closes. So what you are basically going to be comparing it to is here's 2017. So you have this big blow off top with big volume coming in, and then you see price just kind of ranging at the top, and then it starts to come down. And this pattern is seen across many other market tops. I mean, I always love looking at the YFI chart for market tops. I don't look like I have it right here. Oh, I do. It's just, I didn't see it. Okay, this is a great example of a market top if you want to look at it. I mean, and this was kind of close to, or this is kind of a quick reversal. I mean, this really was like the last blow off top here. Big buy volume, retracement, grinding up on lower volume, usually not a good sign, especially with the strength of these candles. And then you saw price just ranging for a while, and ugly candle closes, and short-term market structures getting broken on lower time frames. This is a good classic example of a top. So in other words, what am I trying to say? I'm basically trying to say that currently I don't believe that this is a top forming right now. I believe that its price is still going to go to 70K in the short term. But let's see. I mean, this is of course, I'm certainly could be wrong. I was wrong about it going to 48,000 down here, and I still feel though that this is going to 70,000, 65 to 70,000. I mean, prices just basically sat in this range for quite some time. I mean, realistically speaking, the entire altcoin market didn't really do the moves that it did in January that it did in February. There were a lot of good altcoins in February and in March as well. They were more just, you have to pick and choose the market. Like, I think March was more like FTT and Solana. February was more like ZIL. And, you just kind of had to like pick and choose the market that you wanted to trade. There were many coins that did very well, but the entire altcoin market did not collectively pump like it did in January, where you basically could just blindly throw a dart on a dartboard and it would just go. Personally, I feel that what we're going to see is something like Bitcoin to move up, I don't know, 70,000 or something. And then this will be an explosive move because it's been sitting in this range, relatively speaking, for the last several weeks. And I think the move will up to be 70,000 or wherever it'll stall out. I don't know where, 75 or high 60s maybe, I don't know. And then once we see it coming down, maybe early April, I would not be surprised at all to see many altcoins pump, because generally speaking, we have seen altcoins do very well the last several years around this time period. And I still feel that there's going to be one more altcoin pump this cycle before, we see some sort of altcoin winter like we saw in the fall of 2020. And, we've had good moves for altcoins really since December. So if it starts in April and, lasts for a month or two, I mean, that'll be 5 or 6 months of good pumping and good moves for alts. And it wouldn't surprise me after that to see some altcoin pullback, over the next several months. And that's kind of like my overall projection of what I expect to happen. And for those of you who think that, this market is different, I mean, this was decentralized finance summer, and it wasn't so long ago where price, I mean, it seems like an eternity ago, really, in crypto time, but price still went negative 83% in the span of just like a few months. This is a perfect example of what crypto can really do to you. So cash out your money, or in terms of profits, make sure you protect profits, because this wasn't so long ago when price was basically just dumping to hell. So I really want to emphasize you taking profits, because for all your tons of gains and my gains too, if you keep hanging on to it, it's going to go back down. Crypto altcoins almost always do. So anyways, my overall projection is that Bitcoin goes up to 70,000 or 65 or wherever, pulls back, and then ranges, and then altcoins run. Now, where am I viewing some buy the dip opportunities? I mean, this, as I said before, is still a market structure that is still bullish, in my opinion. And you can do a variety of methods. You could use trend lines, you can use EMAs, you could use regular moving averages, you could use volume profile, simple SR charts. I mean, really, it's dependent on however style you like to trade personally. If we are viewing a pullback now, it wouldn't be good, in my opinion. I mean, that would be a lower high on the daily, which would not be very comforting to see. And I wouldn't want to see this low around 50K or so get broken either, because again, that would be a lower low. So if that happens, if like this low gets lost at 50,000, then it's not necessarily a dip you want to buy right away because the trend could be changing. I still want to emphasize too, though, that this is still a high time frame bullish market structure on the weekly, but if structures start to get lost on dailies and like even lower time frames like the 1 hour, 4 hour, stuff like that, like you'll start to see your market structures changing on the 1 hour and lower time frames before it's reflected on the higher time frames, of course. And that's a situation where you wouldn't really want to see 50K get lost, in my opinion. So in terms of buying the dip, like in order to still maintain bullish market structure, something like 56 or 57K would be decent, in my opinion. The problem is there's a lot of like choppy price action here, and props to anybody who could profitably trade Bitcoin during these times. But yeah, 56K would be like kind of like my buy the dip area. Let's look a little bit at Ethereum. Ethereum looks pretty good in general. Here's my Fibonacci chart, and price dipped down to the 0.5 level around 1360, and then it came back up. To me, this just looks extremely bullish. I mean, $2,000 plus seems inevitable in my opinion. I just think it's like highly likely that this goes higher. It's making higher lows in general. Like you can see a low formed here around 1400, and then a low again around 1600, and then it did make a lower high, which was a little bit iffy, and there are some interesting things on the chart on lower time frames that could have shown why, but my friend and I were discussing this earlier. I don't really want to scale down in lower time frames to that level. I just want to keep it more broad and higher time frame macro analysis today. So, but in other words, I feel that there could be some sellers, around like 21 or 2200, but I still feel that 2500 is coming. Overall, Ethereum still looks good. ETH should be breaking all-time high levels and should follow Bitcoin. And because I have the thesis that Bitcoin is bullish, I have the thesis that Ethereum is also going to be bullish. And in fact, let's move on to ETH BTC. I feel that ETH BTC is actually going to outperform Bitcoin or go up. So if ETH BTC is going up, that means that it is outperforming Bitcoin. This almost made it to the EQ of the range. And it's possible I had this level, incorrectly marked, but in general, it looks pretty good to me. I'm not saying that's going to start mooning right now, because if Bitcoin moves up strongly, then I do feel this EQ will get tested and possibly lower, depending on how strong the Bitcoin move is. But once Bitcoin is done doing its thing, then I feel this is going to make its next run up to 0.055. I still feel pretty confident about that, and another reason why is, let me see if I can find my other Bitcoin. Okay, here we go. Good. This right here, I mean, I've shown this chart on Twitter a whole lot, but this is like the typical market cycle for ETH BTC. I see a lot of people saying, oh, like, you were charting it in the bear market. That's true, but we don't really have large samples of this performing in bull markets. And 2020 was still a bull market for the most part as well. I mean, you had that March dip, but price recovered quite quickly. And it's still, like, given even the market structure for 2020, it still stayed true to previous market cycles in like 2018 and 2019. Like, we still saw this happen overall. So to quickly summarize, ETH goes up in December and January, downtrend in February, which is what we saw, and pumps again in March. And obviously these months are not necessarily always going to be January or February or March. Sometimes it's, starts going to pump. The pump will start in January or December, lasts a month. The downtrend will happen in February or March, lasting 1 month, and that's kind of what we saw, kind of like early February to basically end of March for ETH BTC, and then we see a secondary pump later on in the summer. So this in 2018 we saw this happen from April to May. 2019 we saw this happen for basically February, and then for 2020 we saw all of April as a green month for ETH BTC. So personally, I think that April is going to be a very nice month for ETH BTC, and I do expect this to outperform Bitcoin. Let's just briefly look at Bitcoin dominance. It's a similar thing too, although Bitcoin dominance is it's not going to be as good as it was in the past, simply because of how many altcoins there are in the market. Similar market cycles in general. 2020 was different than previous years in the summer because decentralized finance summer, but it still had that nasty drop that we saw later on in the fall. And this is the inverse BTC dominance chart. So like when this chart goes up, that means that altcoins go up in terms of versus BTC value. So in my opinion, we're about to see another big run up for altcoins, and I still feel very confident about that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Briefly looking, I'm not going to go into too many charts right here, but there are a lot of charts like Band that really just looked really good. I mean, you could see this accumulation period happening across about a 1 month span, and coins like this are really the ones that I am targeting, and we saw a good move on it yesterday, and I think there will be more continuation further. Just look at some charts to kind of see which other ones look kind of like Band. I wouldn't expect to see this area have some sellers up here. Seems like this is going to be a sell liquidity zone, but look to buy a dip after it pulls back and then expect this to go higher. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, guys. Good luck, and please like and subscribe. Any support really helps. Thank you.